If we are one, then who exactly are we? Who am I? Who are you? Not your name, not your story, not your race, your gender, your job, or your past. Those are roles, filters, experiences. But you, the one listening to this right now, you are something far deeper. For as long as I've hosted this podcast, my mission has been to shift your perspective on identity from a person with a soul to the truth. You are soul. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. That's been my mantra since the very beginning. And today, I'm not here to teach you something new. I am here to help you remember something you already know. Because more than ever, we need to live this understanding. Not as a concept, not as a philosophy, but as our true self-identity. Not our race, not our gender, not our labels, but soul. We are soul, a divine spark of all that is. We inhabit a body. This body is temporary. We have lived before, and we may live again in another form, another likeness, another race, another species, a different intelligence, a different world. You are soul, and soul is eternal. This fundamental understanding of self is almost like spirituality 101. But people seem to intellectualize it, not internalize it. They don't bring it to heart. They don't live as this. So today, I want you to go hard into this truth. Because when you live as soul, everything changes. Hi, I'm Daryl T. Johnson, a musician, a teacher, and a QHHT hypnosis practitioner. I'd like to welcome all of you to episode 36 of If We Are One. Hello everyone, and welcome to this spirituality grounding. I call it this because I want to emphasize and bring one salient point home for everyone to look at, examine, internalize, and take to heart as our true identity, as a spiritual being having a human experience. I want to talk about what we've been conditioned to believe. From birth, you were given a name, a story, a role. You were told who you are based on your body, your appearance, your family, your culture. You were taught to identify with the vessel, the body, not the one having the experience. And slowly, over time, you adapted to that limitation so well that you actually forgot it was a limitation. You started thinking, I am this race. I am this gender. I am this role. I am this story. But none of those are you. They're experiences, filters, roles you are playing. I mean, think about it. When you lose a job, do you lose you? When you age, do you lose you? When your body changes, do you lose you? No. Because you are the awareness behind all of that. You are the observer, the one who sees, the one who knows. That's you as soul, not having a soul. Being soul. And when you identify with the body instead of the soul, you live in fear. in division, in insecurity. You start seeing others as separate, as different, as less than. But that's the illusion. You're not separate. You are one. And when you live as soul, you can't not see that. Now, you might be wondering, if we're so powerful, why do we forget? Why would a soul choose to enter a world where it doesn't remember who it is? Here's the truth. Forgetting wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. Think of it this way. An actor doesn't forget their acting unless they want to make the role real. A gamer doesn't want to know the outcome because they want to experience the game. You chose to forget so you could experience, so you could feel contrast, depth, discovery. You chose to step into a body, into a story, into a world of limitation, so you could create something new. And that's why you're here. Not because you failed, not because you're broken, but because you wanted to experience what it feels like to be small, so you could remember what it feels like to become vast. I want you to take a breath and ask yourself, what if forgetting wasn't failure, but part of the design of the experience? Let that sit with you. Now let's make this real. You've heard me talk about 3D to 5D. But what does that actually look like in your day? Here's the difference. In 3D identity, you're human first. You react to triggers. You identify with labels. You make fear-based decisions. You see separation. You live for survival. In 5D awareness, you are soul first. You respond from awareness. You identify as the observer. You make trust-based choices. You see unity in all. You live from expression. So which row feels more like how you're living right now? Be honest. Because when you live in 3D, you're reacting. You're scared. You're attached to labels. When you live in 5D, you're responding. You're trusting. You're united. And the shift happens when you remember who you are. So take another breath, because we're doing an activation here, and ask, am I reaching as the body or responding as soul? That question alone can change your day. Now I want to invite you into a moment, just for 30 seconds. Let go of your name. Let go of your story, your roles. Just be, just feel the awareness behind all of that. That awareness has no race, no gender, no age. It just is. That's you. You're not the water in the cup. You're the ocean that the cup is temporarily holding. Your true nature is vast. The body is just a temporary vessel. So just let that set for just a moment. Now come back when you're ready. Remember, You didn't lose anything. You just remembered. Now I want to share something that's been on my mind. It's really quite interesting when you think about it. There is a perspective shared by Bashar through Daryl Anka and others in channeled material that suggests something quite fascinating. Extraterrestrial beings. They view us with great admiration and respect. They see us as immensely powerful spiritual beings. But they're astounded by one thing: how and why we limit ourselves. They say we are the masters of limitation because we've chosen to create a condition where we forget who we are. Think about that. Throughout the multiverse, this condition that we exercise is apparently less of the norm and more the exception. Let that sink in for a moment. We enter this world with little to no recollection of our divine nature. We live within the limitation and insecurity of a 3D life, not realizing our divine source-created potential. Bashar said it's like, and I'm paraphrasing here, a 10-foot person fitting themselves into a 3-foot box. Now, just so that you are clear on my perspective and reference, yes, I am speaking of extraterrestrials who are viewing us now, and to be honest, have been viewing us since we have been here. Now, I'm not afraid to reference ETs, because at some point we will be experiencing disclosure in its full expression. It's already happening now, and I will probably be doing a future episode on this subject, so stay tuned. But for now, disclosure isn't the focus. The point isn't about the beings. The point is the perspective. They don't see our limitations. They see our power. Even if we don't, they see what we've forgotten, and they're waiting for us to remember. Now, on a side note, there may have been a time when humanity did not experience itself as separate, limited, or small. In many spiritual traditions, and in the readings of teachers like Edgar Cayce, there is the suggestion that we once lived with a clearer awareness of who we truly are. Spiritual beings having a human experience. In that framework, Atlantis, Khefu, becomes more than a mythic place. It becomes a memory of a consciousness state, a time when human beings were more aligned with intuition, divine order, and inner knowing. The fall from that awareness, in symbolic terms, can be understood as a descent into survival consciousness. This shift happened when consciousness became more identified with separation, fear, and survival, rather than with unity and inner knowing. In that telling, the fall was not the loss of divinity, but the forgetting of it. A gradual descent into density where humanity began to mistake limitations for identity. Some esoteric interpretations, including later New Age and channeling traditions, describe this as a kind of amnesia. Not a loss of soul, but a forgetting of soul. So the work is not to become divine. The work is to remember that we already are, and to live from that remembrance instead of limitation. There's one more piece of this dynamic that we need to name: the ego. The ego is the little self. The part of us that says, I am this body, this story, this fear, this limitation. It's not evil, it's actually a necessary focus. Without some degree of ego, the one couldn't experience itself as a distinct point. The ego is the lens that creates contrast. So source can know what it is to be this and not that. But the problem is not the ego itself. The problem is when the ego forgets it's a fractal of the one. When it believes it's the whole identity, we feel trapped in limitation, fear, and separation. The healing is not to destroy the ego, but to remember, I am not just this little self. I am God experiencing itself through this little self. In that remembrance, the ego becomes a tool again, not a master. So, what actually changes when you live as soul? Let me give you some real shifts. Less fear of death, because you are soul, and soul is eternal. It never dies. You know you're not the body. You're the one having the experience. Less attachment to labels and division. You see yourself in others because they are your mirrors, your reflections. I am you from a different point of view. You're not separate. You feel more compassion. You understand that everyone is playing a role. Everyone is forgetting, just like you. More intentional living. You're choosing experiences, not reacting to them. There's more trust. You know your source created. You're not broken. And when more of us live this truth, everything changes. Tribal identity, it becomes irrelevant. You're not a race, though you still appreciate your current life culture and history. You're not a gender. You're soul. And that shifts everything. There's one more very important aspect of this self-realization that I want to share with you. It is this. We are not separate from God, from Source. We are God itself, expressed as fractal forms, divine sparks of the one, of the whole. In this view, the one created countless individual expressions of itself, not to be lesser, but to be experiential. Because all that is all there is. There is nothing outside of it. And yet within that boundless unity, the one desired to experience itself from infinite angles, from infinite points of view. Each one of us is one of those angles. We are the data points, the data sets for Source itself to expand, grow, and become more aware through the fullness of experience. This means our lives are not accidents or tests that we must pass for a distant deity. Every choice, every emotion, every moment of awakening or confusion is important information that the One gathers through us. We are the instruments by which Source knows more of what it is to be. Our expanded growth and awareness are not just for our sake. They ripple back into the whole, enriching the one with perspectives it could not hold without us. In essence, we are the living memory and expanding consciousness of God's Source itself. In our case, experiencing limitation so that the divine can remember its infinity through the contrast we create. So before we end, I want to give you something to do, not just think about. I have a 3-question check-in that I'd like for you to do every day. Ask yourself, 1, am I reacting as the body or responding as soul? 2, what identity am I holding right now? Is it mine or is it borrowed? And number 3, if I remembered I'm soul for just today, what would I do differently? That's it. 3 questions every day. This will help keep you anchored. This will help keep you awake. When I started this podcast, I said that my mission was to shift identity from a person with a soul to being soul. Not just an intellectual construct, but as a paradigm shift into a lived awareness of identity. You are soul. You are not the body. The body does not contain the soul. Soul surrounds the body and extends out into the unified field of existence. This isn't just something to believe. It's something to live. It's who you are. And when more of us live in this truth, everything changes. I know you know the magnitude of this important shift in oneness consciousness. And I hope you begin to live as this from this moment forward. You are soul. You are divine. You are one. And if we are one, then we already know. Thank you for remembering. We'll be talking more about these and other topics in future installments. And if there's anything that you'd like for me to discuss or any questions you may have about anything that I have shared, please feel free to mention it by leaving a question or a comment in the comment section. I would really like to hear from you, especially on this episode. What are your thoughts? As always, if you have found any of this information at all helpful or enlightening, please like, subscribe, and share with others. I truly appreciate those of you who continue to let others know about this podcast. And if you could share this particular episode to as many people as possible, I would really appreciate it. And I continue to be excited at the growing number of souls awakening worldwide to the remembrance of a oneness consciousness. So to all of you, as always, I send you my love. And if we are one, let us all live in peace, love,